Welcome back to Authentically Her After 40. I know you may have seen some of my video speaking about the Beast Method. We're going to call it the Beast Method with a double S, all right? Because I need to add in silence. Silence, silence, silence. And the importance of using your silence as your silence being your superpower. And it really is. And I'm not talking about the kind of silence that says, will you chase me? I'm gonna be quiet so you can chase me. It's actually the silence that says, don't chase me because I know who I am. I'm good. I don't need to explain myself. I don't need an explanation from you. I really don't need anything because I really truly understand who I am and what I stand for. This kind of silence can shake people because especially when you have people coming in trying to test your boundaries, right? They will come and they will come. They are coming for you. If you've not done this before, even if you have done it before, they are coming for you. And it will happen over and over and over again. I remember watching Iyanla Vanzant and she said, a boundary is not something like you do like one time. It becomes part of who you are. And so when you do it, there has to be an action behind it. There has to be a consequence that goes with that boundary. And when you decide what the consequence is, you have to dish out said consequence, or else the boundary is not valid. People will cross your boundaries all day long. Well, initially I thought of silence as me not having a voice, right? Like if I don't say anything, if people don't hear me, I need to make them hear me, right? And the crazy thing about that, right? The crazy thing about saying that people need to hear you is that sometimes you are so emotional about how they need to hear you that you start looking like the crazy one. No one wants to look like the crazy one. And when you look like the crazy one, no one takes you seriously. This is the type of silence that says, I'm serious about what I said. I said what I said and I mean it, period. And it's the silence that says, I'm unshakable. You're not gonna rock me no matter what you do, no matter what you say. And sometimes people will test that. Let me give you an example. So it's like the person that knows that you don't like it if they have the last word. You're dealing with someone who always has to have the last word, right? Because they always have to be right. And so you just start letting them be right. Because what do you care? Right? Whether they feel they're right or not, it's not going to make a difference really in your life, is it? If they're going to be right as they think, and then they're going to go home. So when you stop arguing the point and you just say, oh, okay, that's what you think. Okay, fine. Okay. Or if you redirect, because people will also use this type of having the last word, right, to egg you on. They will throw something in there that they know that irritates you. They will pick at your traumas, because usually this happens with people who are close to you, people who know you, and so they know what your traumas are. They know what your triggers are, I should say. And so once they know what your triggers are, they can just come. They can trigger you, and then they can sit back and watch you. They sit back and watch you act a fool, and they go, see, I told you Natalie was crazy. I told you Natalie wasn't wrapped too tight. I told you she didn't like me. I told you whatever it is that they're trying to get out of you. And when they throw that trigger out there and you redirect the trigger with silence, you don't respond, it throws them off, because now they didn't get the reaction that they were looking for. They didn't get the response they were looking for. You are now silent, and they're just like, wait a minute, where did you go? Where did she go? Where did he go? Well, he didn't go anywhere. You're minding your business, taking care of what you need to take care of, doing your thing, keeping your peace. Because there comes a point where you realize that the constant interaction and drama is no longer keeping your peace. It's just keeping you looped into whatever cycle people want you to be in the argument, in the fight. Then they always have to be right. So there's always going to be something, and then they get to walk away and be mad, right? But here's the thing. When you're silent, who looks crazy? If they walk away and they're mad now because you're silent, who looks crazy? I think they do. And you're not mad. You're just like, I don't have anything to say. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Nothing to say. No response. I just had an incident with someone where silence can look like this also, where you do respond, but you're not responding directly to the comment, to the trigger. I got a text message, and in the text message was a trigger about something like, you know what, this should be this way and this should be that way and blah blah blah. I'll do this because, you know, even though I don't believe it, like I'm gonna do this anyway because I guess that's the way it has to be. So initial reaction, if you're triggered, is to respond to every other comment they said. And so my answer was, thank you. Let me know how you're going to do, right? That thing, whatever that thing is, let me know how you're going to do it. Which means that my triggers are no longer up for discussion. Those things that you thought should be, shouldn't be, are no longer up for discussion. My boundaries are not up for discussion. Because usually the triggers will have something to do with your boundaries that will set you off. So your silence in the situation in regards to the triggers can be a trigger for the other person, if that makes sense to you. So use silence as your power. Also, silence is a great tool for, let's say you're at work. Have you ever been in a meeting where everybody's talking, giving their opinion, and everybody's arguing, go back and forth and back and forth and back? That's because everyone wants to be heard. Like if you ever go to a meeting like that, you can feel that everybody wants to be heard. And you want to be heard too, I'm sure. But do you know the person that's heard the most is the one that talks the least during a meeting? That the person that maybe when there's an important point that really comes out, states their point, and then keeps it moving, that doesn't get involved in all the bickering back and forth. I used to be that person who got involved in the bickering back and forth because I would say, no, you're wrong, no, I'm right. And they would say, no, I'm right, you're wrong. But here's the thing, we all think we're right. Everybody thinks they're right. And the person that wins is not always the person that's right. The person that wins is the person that could remain the most emotionally stable in a situation. And that's facts. And it's not that if you have a situation where you need to make amends, that you're not going to make amends. But I can make amends without all the rigmarole, without all the drama, without all the triggers, without all the triggering and bickering back and forth to get all hyped up, because people get used to that. They get used to that push and pull relationship. I'm going to trigger you, you're going to pull back, and then I'm going to trigger you, you're going to come at me, and now I'm going to pull back, and then you're going to trigger me, and then I'm going to come at you, and you're going to pull back. It's crazy. It's crazy. When you start thinking about handling every situation, whether it's in your personal relationship, all your personal relationships, or at work, if you think about it as from an emotional, intelligent point of view, I bet you almost 100% of the time you win. We don't always get 100% what we want. Maybe close to 100% of the time, you'll be the one, if everybody's acting like this, you'll be the one to get the closest to what you want. Like we never get 100%, but you'll get close. Because, you know, people think it's when they can sound the smartest. I've had it happen to me too. I've done it. I've done it. I've been there. Yeah. I've been that cringy person that has said, no, like it's my way. I know exactly what I'm talking about. And I will argue my point and then find out later, like, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was wrong. And is there anything wrong with not always being right? That's the problem, right? We everyone always wants to be right at any cost. And then when they're wrong, they don't want to hold themselves accountable to the fact that they were wrong. See, I have learned to, if I'm wrong about something, to say that I'm wrong. To hold myself accountable for being wrong, because we're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. I'm not trying to be perfect. I mean, I try to give the best information. I come here, I tell you this is what I think, this is my opinion. And I tell you, my opinion can change from this week to next, depending on what I learn, because I'm constantly learning new things and growing. Most people are not trying to come out and give false information. Most people. But with that said, we also like to be right. And your silence holds a kind of power that's almost as powerful, if not more powerful, than the voice that you have. And this is one of the amazing things that you start to learn as you get older. Like if you're bickering with your spouse every day, right? He's not taking out the garbage. And I'm not saying passive aggressive behavior. We're not talking about being passive aggressive either. But I'm talking about like good old fashioned silence. This is a great story. I read this somewhere. I heard this somewhere. You know, there was a guy who his wife asked him for a refrigerator, and because she wanted ice, and he liked to have ice in his lemonade. So she would make him lemonade, put ice in there because that's how he liked to have it. But she needed a new fridge because the fridge was not making the refrigerator. But he didn't want to buy a refrigerator. So guess what she did? She started giving him the lemonade with no ice. And he was like, well, why isn't there ice? No, we don't have ice. No more asking, begging for anything. Like she didn't have to ask, beg. Look, the man went out and bought a new fridge with an ice maker right away because he wanted ice. So what I'm saying is that silence is not for, I'm not saying to use it for manipulation. That's not manipulation. They needed a freezer and he didn't want to buy one, but he wanted ice. Like, I don't know where you're going to get ice if the freezer is not making ice. But you could argue with him every day, and every day you argue with him because he's a man, or because people don't like to be told what they need to do. He's going to tell you tomorrow or next time, but depending on the person. You know, my husband would buy the fridge yesterday, but you know, we all have different situations. So, but your silence is your power, because your silence helps you keep your peace. See, when you're arguing, bickering back and forth with someone, that's no longer peaceful. And sometimes you just say what you got to say and you shut up no matter what the other person says or what they do. Because you already said your piece, you've spoken your boundary, and you know that you're holding steadfast and firm to that boundary. Short of you learning something that really makes you change your mind, it's not up for discussion. It's definitely not up for an argument. And if you need to change your mind, you can always change your mind without the argument. How about that? Because a lot of times we use silence as the silent treatment, that's manipulative. And that's not, this is really, there's a big difference. Manipulating someone into, I'm not going to talk to you until you do what I want you to do. That's manipulative, because first of all, if they do it, they're going to do it with resentment. That man who bought the fridge, he didn't do it with resentment, did he? He did it because he really wanted ice. He figured out, like, yeah, if I don't go get this fridge with this working freezer, I'm not going to have ice in my lemonade. So he wasn't resentful when he went to buy it. But if she was arguing and screaming and bickering, right, then he's resentful, because now he feels like he's being told what to do. And I think that's the gist of it in all of our relationships, is that people don't like to feel like they're being told what to do. And people like to feel like they're in control also. They don't like to be told what to do, but they like to tell other people what to do. Because it makes them more powerful to feel like they can tell you what to do and that they can tell you the right thing to do. When you use your silence tactfully and strategically, you keep your peace. Your silence is to keep your peace. Because no matter what someone says, you know, oh, like, you know what, like, that's not right, and you're gonna say, yes, that's right. Where do you go? Oh, I hear you. Okay. I know that's what you believe, but okay. What I said still stands, but okay. You don't downplay that they have their opinion, because everyone's entitled. We're all entitled to our opinion. Because people are not allowed to use their opinion to control you, right? And so when you don't respond, they still can't use their opinion to control you. They can think what they want to think, and you allow them to think it. You don't have to tell them they're right, they're wrong, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if their thoughts are right or wrong to you. You just know what you know. You have a boundary, and so that's no longer up for discussion. That your boundary is not up for discussion. Is this a skill? It is, because it feels, especially if you're an empath, this feels like a burning sensation in your chest. It's annoying because people will push and push and push until they can maybe break you into reacting and having a meltdown. Because once you react and have a meltdown, most of the time the boundary will be breached because you're just like, oh, I have enough. I can't, like, whatever, do whatever you want. And so that's taken as do whatever you want, and they will do whatever they want. When you really hold firm to your boundary and keep yourself emotionally grounded, which is one of the hardest things to do. Because today we're just yelling at each other. Go on a drive and see how many people are in their cars, like screaming at the next car. Like, why do I gotta scream at the next car? Because they're driving erratic, right? I can stay silent, I can slow down and just stay away from you. I just stay away from you. Like, you want to drive crazy, I'm gonna back off and I'm gonna give you the road. Have at it. I'm not gonna scream at you. That's a waste of my energy. That's a breach of my peace. That other driver, you're gonna yell at them and make them do anything. No, you're not. You're gonna have stroke screaming at the person that's gonna continue to do and behave the way that they're behaving. You'll find that more and more when you stay silent, like, people will stop pushing the boundary. In order to push the boundary that you're holding up, they have to be able to get you out of character, get you to argue with them so that they can prove themselves right. So they need that argument. They need you, the back and forth, so they can. But when you decide there's no more back and forth, there is just no more back and forth. And so what else is there to say? There's nothing else to say. Yeah. So anyway, I think I've talked enough. I hope this made sense to you. Guys, drop me a comment. Let me know how you use silence. Not in a manipulative way. Not to get somebody to do what you want them to do, and then they were resentful about it. That's not what I mean. People will still be mad when you don't let them breach your boundaries. How did you keep your boundary? By staying silent while the other person maybe was like going off the deep end. You know, people were going off the deep end on the other side. Oh, that's the other part. You're gonna have to allow them to go off the deep end. You're gonna have to be okay with that. It's like that narcissist that says, you know what, if you leave me, I'm gonna hurt myself. Like, why would you do that? That's manipulative. And I'm gonna argue with you about that? No, I'm not gonna argue with you about that. That's just trying to get me to either argue or to stay in a manipulative way. That's not okay. You're using my emotions to get what you want. You're putting me in my feelings. You're using my empathy to get what you want. And so sometimes we have to remove the empathy and just use logic. And it's not that we don't want to be empathetic. Sometimes the people are triggering you to be manipulative. So you have to put the empathy on the back burner. And it doesn't mean that you don't love the person. It doesn't mean that you don't care about the situation. It just means that whether or not you love the person or care about them, that your boundary is sacred, right? Because when you keep letting people push the envelope, they push it further. You're screaming, you're yelling, you're going at it, and it's a distraction. Real quick secret before I go about being silent. When you're holding that boundary in silence, use that energy or that frustration that you might be feeling, that the other person might be projecting, because they're going to be frustrated and they're going to project that frustration onto you. You need to transmute that energy and use that energy and produce something that's really positive in your life. Like, use it for your creativity, use it to create something, journal, write something. Who knows? You may end up writing a book at the end of it. You may end up finding out that you're a poet. You may end up finding out that you're a screenwriter. But use and project that energy into your creativity. Maybe create, like, you know, maybe you're I talk about me liking to craft. Use it in your crafting. That frustration. It works. I promise. Anyhow, thank you for joining me on Authentically Her. If you haven't already, smash that like button. Subscribe. Drop me a heart in the comments. Show me some love, because I am here showing you some love. And remember, around here we don't shrink anymore to make anyone else feel big. There's enough room for all of us around here. So I will see you in the next one. Love you.